Welcome to Talking Ish About It. I am the host of I Got Ish to Say podcast, and I'm here to talk ish about the other injustice of William McNeil Jr. You may say, what is the other injustice? Well, I'm staying on the same vein as I did in my previous video. Where are our Black leaders in the city of Jacksonville, Florida? Where is the protest? Where is the outrage? Where is the outcry? Where's the standing with this young man who have been done this injustice to? First of all, let me thank Dr. John Allen Newman and his beautiful wife, Omarosa, for coming out to the press conference. Let me thank Representative Angie Nixon for always lending a voice to the people. But I am still perplexed by the people who have not said anything. Not one of our Black city council leaders have spoke to this injustice. Not one of our Black pastors who claim to have these huge social justice platforms have said anything about this injustice. Why leave outside of the city and say you're this great person in the city? But let me also address this. When I first started this conversation, I used Bible verses to stand on the basics of my outcry, right? But the funny part about that is you have said things about me to discredit my voice, but yet you have not spoke to the injustice that's happening in the city. And I had to ask myself, why? Were they afraid? Why? Do they don't feel their voice have power? Why? No. Their voice is too busy begging from the oppressor. So I can't piss the oppressor off because the oppressor might stop giving me money for fake programs. If we want to call this young man a thug, well, why is the churches closed with no programs to help young people? Why is the churches only open when it's time to collect the bag? Yes, that's what I call the offering now, the bag. Your voices are needed. But most pastors say, oh, I'm not the pastor to protest. I'll call people. So that lends me to believe Reverend Martin Luther King was an ignorant man because he protested and marched. That makes me believe Rosa Parks was an ignorant woman because she protested because she wouldn't give up her seat. The same thing William McNeill did. He sat down in protest of injustice. So you telling me that Jamal Bryant is ignorant because he's telling us to boycott Target? No. They are not afraid of the powers that be, and they speak to the powers that serve injustice to our people. That's what we need here in the city of Jacksonville, Florida. Leaders who are not afraid to challenge the powers that be when there's injustices in our community. That's what we need here in Jacksonville. I got 2 phone calls from civil rights leaders across the country, and they asked this one question: Alphonso, what are the leaders doing in Jacksonville? My reply: nothing. Leaders outside of this city is planning a march and a boycott for William McNeill. I guess I'll see all the Black leaders then because they want those photo ops. Your voice is needed now. That's why the oppressor don't take the voices that they hear serious, because the one who claim to be the leaders in the city have said nothing. That's the injustice. I'm going to stay in that vein until you do different. You can talk about me. I'm built for this moment. You can try to discredit my name. I'm built for the moment, but you can't discredit the word of God who have called you out to be leaders to the people who've been oppressed. Moses, I guess he was ignorant as well when God led him back to Pharaoh's house and told him to tell Pharaoh, let the oppressed people free. That's what we're liking in the city of Jacksonville. That's why this stuff keep happening in Jacksonville, because our leaders remain silent. But as David said, is there not a cause? This is my cause. This is my platform, and I'm going to lend my voice. It's not calling out people, but the systems that people operate in. You can't say you're a leader and you're afraid to lead your people. You can't say you're a leader and you won't voice your opinion about the opposition. And one thing I will like to say, election time come back around. And to all the leaders who come to our churches, who come to our communities and beg for our votes, we're going to remember your silence when it came to the injustice of William McNeill Jr. We're going to remember your absence at the ballot. You're mad about redistricting. Maybe that might be a good thing for the inner city. Maybe we may have leaders who are not afraid to voice their opinion and lead their people out of oppression. Yeah, I'm mad as hell. And yes, that's why I'm talking about ish. Because until the leaders in Jacksonville or so-called leaders in Jacksonville stand up, you're going to keep hearing my voice. I'm going to be the thorn in your side. And it's amazing to me that the president of the NAACP of Georgia was here to support this young man. And all our president at the NAACP could say, oh, he was a thug. Well, sir, what programs do your NAACP lend to these young people to keep them out of problems, out of trouble? We quick to ostracize our youth, but are we there to really help our youth? No, not at all. We want these positions and we want titles, but we need you to do the work that comes with the titles. And to all my black pastors, this is your obligation. This is your duty. Don't speak on social justice if we can't see you on the front line. It sounds good in other rooms and it sounds good to other people, but let's see you doing the work of the people. I'm going to talk this ish until you start working and moving towards change. Again, this is Alphonso McClendon. Tune in to I Got Ish to Say podcast. If you had not subscribed, I would love to have you as a subscriber. Tune in.